Your personnel. When you look over your personnel now that you've had a chance to actually watch the film and study, what kind of a defense are you taking over?
I tell you what, just from last year playing against the guys and having a chance to look at the tape, we have a talented roster. I mean, there's some guys that are very talented on the defensive side of the ball at the right positions. So I feel like I'm really coming to a very fortunate situation where we have some of the pieces in place.
How do you get them to play together and have that success?
That's going to happen through meeting with those guys, setting a direction for them, the things that we do in practice, things I'm going to ask them to do. But through that whole process, man, we'll get those guys playing together.
About the key positions and guys there, who are you talking about?
Rushers and cover guys. You know what I mean?
Yep, those ones.
I think our front is very good, is very talented. It's going to be our job as coaches to get them to play as good as they can to their ability level. And in the back end, just have some young corners. And, I've coached corners my whole career, the back end, but when you have some young, talented corners, man, that excites you.
How much different is the style of defense you coach to what they played last year?
I mean, really with defenses, everybody really runs the same stuff. It's just how you do it. But everybody's going to run 3 deep. Everybody's going to run man pressure, fire zone. But I think it's about how you put the package together. I want to make sure that I give, offenses a lot of the same looks, but play different coverages and make them figure it out at the line of scrimmage. That's always kind of been my mindset. So that's what I'm going to try to do here.
In the press release, you said you were going to stick with the 4-3. Is that mainly because it fits what you're inheriting, or are you okay with the 4-3 in general?
That's what the personnel here is. And I've coached in both systems, the 3-4 when I was at Denver, and the 4-3 really for most of my career. But the personnel set up to run a 4-3. I think we have the right personnel. I think it's a natural fit. And, for me, it's very easy to do.
Side for Myles Garrett, and how much are you looking forward to kind of getting back working with him, coming off this suspension and maybe knowing that you're going to have to kind of deal with, the physical side and maybe some emotional side too?
Yeah, it's an unfortunate situation, what happened. I think sometimes the emotions of the game get to you. I'm sure it's something that he's learned from and he wants to put behind him. My job is just to coach him. He's very talented. I coach another player from A&M, Von Miller. So I see them both as the same type of player. So I just look forward to getting him on the field just to see what he can do.
You started your coaching career in Ohio. I mean, obviously this is a long, long way from that, but what's the same about football and coaching that it was 25 years ago?
It's the passion. I mean, I love grinding. I love putting the time in. For me, first and foremost, I want to be a champion. I think that's the first goal. Second thing is I want people to view me as a good coach, whatever I do. And the third part is I want to take care of my family. I want to be able to put my kids through school, get them things that they need. So for me, it's easy to show up to work every day for those goals. And it's been like that for 29 years. I know I'm dating myself, but.
Best to being a Steelers fan as a kid?
It's the truth. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. But, I work for the Browns, and that's what it is.
What does it do for a coach's juices to get to the Super Bowl?
Say that one more time?
What does it do for your juices to get to a Super Bowl?
I mean, it's an unbelievable feeling. Like you really don't feel it until you actually get there and you land and you see, just all the fans, all the media, just being in the hotel, practice facilities, just everything. It's at the highest of highs. And, fortunately for me, I've been there twice. I wish I could say I was 2-0, but hopefully we get there here too.
You said you want to have the same looks but different coverages, and in theory, that's great. What does that take as a coach in your core defensive philosophies and really coaching philosophies in order to strike that balance of not being too complicated and too confusing,
right,
but not being overly simple also?
That's exactly how I view it. And then it's putting packages together. The first thing you want to make sure you're doing is trying to stop what the offense is trying to do. Then when you get to third down situations, you want to make sure you're attacking pressures. So we'll have different ways to do that. But I think just trying to coordinate it all together is going to help it work better. And we don't want to do so much that our players can't play fast. But at the same time, again, I want them to figure it out on Sunday, not during the week. So we'll always have some little wrinkles from week to week.
Like you guys need to really add, a number of good edge rushers and get that pass rush going.
It never hurts. We keep adding as many as they want. I'm cool with that. But I think the goal is to add as many talented players to the roster as you can that are the right people. We want the right people, good people here that'll be good for the organization, good for the team, and do it the right way. But if they want to add more rushers, more corners, I'm all for it.
You were new to that defense in San Francisco, kind of like the Seattle.
Yes.
So where do you start in building your defense? Do you draw from prior things, or do you take what you last worked with?
Really, it's a mixture of everywhere I've been. Going back, Tampa, Minnesota, a little bit of Oakland, Denver, San Fran, and really everybody kind of runs the same defenses. It's just they get to them different ways. San Francisco 3 deep is a little bit different in terms of how the coverage works, but I'm going to try to run a little bit of that along with the stuff I've done at the other place and just kind of mix it all together.
How would you assess, especially your secondary? It looks like you're going to need some new safeties. How would you assess that group?
Based on free agency, we're going to have to add some pieces. Same thing in the draft. I feel like there's young talent there, and that's all you want as a coach. Is just some players that when you watch tape that you feel like are good enough to do what you need them to do. But we are going to have to add some pieces. We lost a few guys, so we'll see what happens here.
Decisions that will have to be made with the linebacker core.
Yes.
That was, prior to your arrival, that seemed to be a unit that was, destined for some sort of transition. What's your take on the state of that group? And obviously, I'm referencing Joe Schober. Is he a player you'd like to bring back?
I just had a chance to start looking at those guys, to be honest with you. I got here so late, man. I'm way behind, hiring the staff and all that stuff. But I did get a chance to go look at a little bit of tape, and he's a good player. And, this is the NFL. The organization, Andrew's going to have to make the best decision for the Cleveland Browns, whether that's him being here or moving on. And I trust him with his decision-making is going to be. But I know he is a good football player.
What did you think of the younger linebackers, Wilson and Taki?
Yeah, I just had through watching other guys, I saw, was it Mac? I saw a couple plays with him, but I haven't had a chance to really go and study him. And I know he's going to be here, so he wasn't one of the primary guys I wanted to look at right away. But I do believe from talking to our linebacker coach, Jason Tarver, that he feels like he's a talented player that can do what we need him to do.
This is a question kind of about the other side of the ball, but
Yeah.
you've gone against the Browns 2 years in a row, and Baker Mayfield 2 years in
Right.
a row. So I'm just curious from your perspective, preparing for him, like what you saw.
Yeah, he's a talented guy, but our whole philosophy at San Francisco was to let our front four hunt. We feel like if we could just mix some coverages up and just get them to hold the ball a little bit, that we can get after the quarterback. But we felt that way about everybody we played. But I definitely feel, I don't coach him, but I know he's a talented player.
Did you think it was cool when Nick Bosa planted that flag?
Because we were winning, yes. Yeah, but that goes back to college, and that's a college rivalry. They had the big game, but that was really like Bosa's coming out party. You had a big game and picked the right night to do it.
Kevin in Minnesota, did you guys ever talk about a situation like this where he might be head coach or you might be head coach and want to bring him with you?
I think when we were both starting off and we were kind of broke, we probably talked about that, wishing. But in the recent years, we've had conversations. I'll see him down at the combine or, other places. And we've had conversations that if something like this were to happen, that, possibly we could get together. And I'm so excited for Kevin. And I'm just telling you, you talk about a guy that's done it the right way. I saw him from when he started out as an assistant to the head coach to where he's at today. And the one thing with Kevin, man, I know he says he's authentic, but he is very detailed, very organized, obviously very smart, and he has great people skills. He can talk to anybody, and he's going to really demand respect just because of who he is. He's a flatline person, but people are really going to learn just to respect him just because of who he is as a person.
How important do you think it is that you and he know each other as well as you do to make this work?
It makes it easier because he knows how I work. I was in the same building with him for 8 years, so he knows my work ethic, everything that I did coaching my position. So I feel like he's real comfortable with me and, leading the defense. So it definitely helps when you know somebody.
What are some of the main things you learned in those 2 seasons as defensive coordinator in Denver that you think will help you this time around?
Really goes back to, first of all, organization, just organizing things, managing people, game planning, because you've gone through it now. This will be, I was there 2 years, so this will be my 3rd year doing it. But I think all those things, the experience, calling the games, it just, you feel more comfortable. It's not something new like you didn't expect. So I definitely feel more comfortable, and the staff we hired, really a bunch of good coaches that I trust that are definitely going to help me put this thing together.
Takeaways, this team only had 20 last year.
Right.
And obviously it was different for you out in San Francisco. What is your emphasis? How do you coach it? How do you teach that? And what's your philosophy on that?
It's all about the ball. What we do, what they do on offense, what we do on defense, it's all about the ball. And we have to find ways to take it away. And Chris Kiffin, D-line coach here, he gives all the ball presentations. He did it at San Francisco. And it's just really showing examples of ways that we can get the ball, how to do it properly with technique. And the year before I went out to San Francisco, I think they had 7 turnovers. And we turned it around last year. So I just think through showing them tape so they know how to do it, and then it's drilled in practice, and getting the guys to run to the ball. You can't create turnovers if you're not running to the ball. I think if we do all those things, I feel like we can have a good season in terms of that.
Mike Prefer was up here, and he was talking about sitting in on your DB meetings every Saturday morning in Minnesota.
Oh, yeah.
He was talking about you as a teacher. Was there somebody who kind of influenced you and taught you how to teach football?
I've had a lot of influences throughout my coaching career, going the whole way back to high school. I really don't have the time to go through all the names, but, Brian Kelly, Urban Meyer, when I played, John Bowers, my position coach. I coached with Dan Quinn, Raheem Morris. But all those guys helped me in some way, but my mentor is definitely Mike Tomlin. He just helped me see the game a different way, just in terms of how to prepare, and that's the way I do it. It takes some time. You got to grind through it, but really, if there's one guy, he's the guy that's really helped me the most.
You have family in there. Can you tell us who's all here and where?
Oh my God. Really, I'm from about 20 miles north of Pittsburgh, but most of my immediate family live in Ohio and live in Cleveland. So I don't know the number, but I probably have more than 50 relatives in the Cleveland, Akron area. So when it comes to the game day, we're going to have a plan. I'm going to put my wife in charge of it. But I have a lot of family, and that's why I'm very excited as well to be here.